What is up, guys? I hope everybody's doing good. I wanted to share some thoughts I have on what home sellers should be preparing for and home buyers alike moving forward in 2025. So, some notes you should consider for the rest of the year. First of all, the last 8 months have been the most balanced we've seen in the market since before the pandemic. But that is changing very, very rapidly due to inventory increase. The next 60 days, we are going to see a swell of homes that has already started. I'm going to show you the inventory levels, how they have risen, and how they've compared to 2018 and 2019, so you can see the pre-pandemic levels to put it all in perspective. But specifically with 2 and 3 story home products in '08, '07, and '06, you don't see too much of that product at all in Oak Forest or Garden Oak. So those areas are going to have their own unique um, challenges. Same thing with Spring Branch, but overall, inventory is rising, and each product is going to have its own challenge. Not necessarily true for new construction, but that also has its own little nuanced challenges. Interest rates, they're probably going to continue to bounce around where they're at, high sixes to low sevens. You need to stop asking agents what the interest rates are. Check in with a lender, find out what you can afford. It is not our job to work out your budget for you. We will do a poor job at that. The best thing an agent can do is give you a good lender referral. So if you need that, let me know. As far as insurance goes, it's going to continue to stay volatile. Texas and Florida have had the biggest challenges. Of course, California has been in there too, but our issues are more relatable to Florida because of natural disasters. So I've got a very, very solid insurance guy who can run good, transparent, straightforward numbers, give it to you straight. If you need a referral on that, let me know. Okay, so with inventory levels, I just want to point a couple things out. So you can look at the total active listings here, or you can look at months of inventory here, whatever metric you're more familiar with. Sometimes it's easier to just look at this big number here so you can just see the change. So a balanced market would be somewhere around 3 to 4 months, 3.5 to 4.5 months. But really that sweet spot is like 3.5 to 4 months of months of inventory, which is just the number of available homes on the market at any given time. If there were no other homes, how long would it take for all those homes to sell? Is how that metric works. But a balanced market is 3.5 to 4 months. That means buyers and sellers buyers have enough options. They have enough time to look. They're not having to do crazy stuff to get a home under contract. And sellers are having to do their own due diligence with making the home presentable, pricing it right, getting on a market, doing their job to present something good enough to attract a buyer, as opposed to what we saw in 20 and 2021, where the rates were so low and the inventory was so low that sellers could pretty much get away with anything, and buyers were having to really, really fight and do some irresponsible things to get homes under contract. That is, of course, gone. So 2018, 2019 levels, you can see here, we're kind of in the pretty balanced space. 2019, again, still kind of in that place. So just to put that in perspective, very, very balanced market. Here comes the pandemic. You can see we were already sort of on the precipice of going toward a little bit closer towards a seller's market. Things are already a little bit on the edge of being in balance as far as inventory. And then, of course, the pandemic shut down everything. A total black swan event changed. And you can see we went total lopsided. And that only got worse for the next roughly 2 years. Coming out of 21 into 2, again, 22 into 3, you can see it started to creep back up. The interest rates also started to rise around that time. You could see by the time we got into this last Thanksgiving, we were pretty much, for the most part, in 23 and 24, starting to get into that more balanced market. Now, granted, the interest rates had doubled. We started having more volatility in insurance. But coming up to current levels, we're now creeping closer to what is going to start to feel like a more imbalanced market. Buyers are going to be pretty much in control. You can see it's creeping up. That's just April of last month. Or sorry. Yeah, this is April of last month. And so we are already starting to cross into that 5 to 6 months of inventory um, territory. And yeah, so buyers, you are going to have the upper hand. And for a lot of different kinds of products, not every single product across the board, sellers are going to have to sharpen up. Make sure that you are working with the right person, getting the best advice, and understanding how your particular home may or may not perform. So stay smart. If you have any questions, let me know.